What's up, guys? I'm Fabio Salas, and welcome to the Living Mad channel, where we talk all about the American dream. So this is the third video in a series that I wanted to make for you, where I kind of focus in and dive in on just a little bit about real estate, what I've learned, and something that I hope you can take away to help you get started with real estate. So today I want to share a story with you of how I'm making money in real estate, and it's just one example of something that you can replicate for yourself to help set you up for success in the future. Hopefully you've watched some of my other videos. Hopefully you've enjoyed them. If you do, hit that like button so everybody knows that it's good content. Hit that subscribe button so you know when I upload more videos. All right, let's move on. So in my second video, I talked about the duplex that I own in San Diego. So now that I don't live in San Diego anymore, I live in Illinois now, I want to talk to you about what I'm doing with that property, why I've decided to keep it on as a rental, and what I'm looking at going into the future. All right, so I bought that house in 2016, about 3.5 years ago. It was January 2016 when I bought that house. I bought it for $510,000. Today, it's estimated to be worth around $650,000. And I say around because unless you do an appraisal today, you don't really know what it's worth today. It can change from month to month. Maybe last month the market was really hot and this month it drops. It happened in 2008, it can happen again. Or maybe the market got really hot and it went from $650 back in April when I moved here to $690 here in August. So I say around $650. That's a pretty decent estimate. The market hasn't changed that much in San Diego in the last couple months. So that's the first thing I want you to understand is different markets can make you different amounts of money. I had another house that I had in Arizona. I bought that one in 2011, sold it in, was it last year? Yes, last year. I sold it last year, beginning of last year. So that was 2011 to 2018, 7 years that I owned that house. In those 7 years, the house appreciated about $40,000. So think about that, 7 years it appreciated 40 grand, whereas the house in San Diego, duplex in San Diego, has appreciated well over $100,000 in just 3.5 years. So different markets, different things. The house in Arizona was a good investment. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't, but it wasn't, you know, a home run like it would have been in California, especially being that I bought the house in 2011 when the market was just starting to recover. But at the time I was stationed in Arizona, so that's where I decided to buy a house. So when I first bought the house in San Diego, I told you guys in another video, I was using it as an Airbnb rental. Well, later on, when I deployed from San Diego, I didn't want to try to manage an Airbnb while I was deployed, so I turned it into a full-time regular rental. So both of the units in that property are now full-time rentals, and they've been so since about November of 2016. So coming up on 3 years. Now, another thing that I mentioned in my previous video is equity buildup, right? So there's 3 things, let me backtrack, there's 3 things that I look at now of why I keep that house. The first one is equity buildup. Right now, because I've owned the house for 3 years, the pay down on that loan is right around $1,000 a month. So every single month, the 2 tenants that I have there, one of them is a Navy guy, the other one is actually a real estate agent. Both of them are paying down my mortgage. They're paying down the principal, the interest, the taxes, and the insurance. They're paying all that. Part of that is the principal. $1,000 a month going toward the principal. So every single month, without me having to work a part-time job, without me having to do anything extra, I have a property manager that takes care of the house. So I'm not having to do anything. He sends me the checks every month. He sends me the statements. I've had 2 things that I've had to deal with since I've been gone. I had to replace a fridge for $520. And what was the other one? I think it was a sink or something that got clogged up, and that was about $130. So I have had to spend some money out of pocket for the last few months. But even if, and that's only been 4 or 5 months since I've been here, but you add that up, $520 for the fridge, and about $130 for the drain, 600 and what I'd say, 520, 130, $650 in 4 months. But each month they've been paying down my principal $1,000 a month, So my net worth for that, or the equity in the house, has gone up $4,000. My net worth has gone up $4,000. So I'm still coming out on top. So that's the first way that, or the first thing that I want to point out is it's making me money each month. $1,000 every month, and my net worth is going up just by somebody else paying down the principal balance. The second thing that I mentioned in my previous video is taxes, right? So taxes is all about the state that you live in. Some states charge a lot of taxes. Illinois, where I'm at now, taxes are insane. You go to Texas, there's no income tax there, so you save a lot of money on your income, but property taxes are crazy. Well, California, taxes are not necessarily insane, but the value of the properties are super high. So this house being worth $650,000, you can imagine I pay a lot of taxes on that. Property taxes, plus the taxes that I pay on the loan itself. But here's the thing about that, because it is a rental property, because I'm a landlord renting out this duplex, at the end of the year when I do my taxes, I get to write all that off. And it reduces my taxable income. So for simplicity's sake, I'm trying to keep this just basic, just so you understand. It's a little bit more, but on average, I'm saving about $1,000 a month taxable income just by having this rental property in California. Especially now that I live in Illinois, my military income is lower because my housing allowance here is lower, but I'm still reducing my taxable income by just as much by having this house in California. So I'm making $1,000 a month from the equity buildup, somebody else paying the mortgage. I'm making a little more than $1,000 a month from tax benefits because I'm lowering my taxable income. The third way that I'm making money from this house is by appreciation. Now I will tell you that San Diego has averaged about 3.5% appreciation over the last 50 to 60 years. 3.5%. But I want to keep this basic and I want to be conservative. I don't want to get my hopes up and think I'm making 3.5% appreciation every year for however long I own it, because that's not reality. I say it's average 3.5%, but there's been years when it's been really bad. So 2008, housing market in California dropped a lot. So if you had a house that was worth $500,000, in a matter of a few months or a year, it was probably worth $300,000, $250,000. So it dropped a lot. It would have been a really bad time to sell. But when you average it all, about 3.5%. But for simplicity's sake and to be a conservative investor, we're gonna say that it averages, or that I expect average appreciation in the future to be 2%, which is right in line with about the national average, 2%. But here's the thing, this is a $650,000 house. So let's say just $600,000. 2% of $600,000 is $12,000. $12,000. So this is why appreciation is different and needs to be considered differently in different markets, different cities. Because if I'm getting 2% of a $600,000 house in San Diego, that's very different from getting 2% of a $200,000 house here in Illinois. Might be the same house, but they're valued differently, so the appreciation is going to be different. So if the house appreciates $12,000 per year, just 2%, we average that out to $1,000 per month. So again, every single month, the value of the house is going up $1,000. Now you may think $1,000 is not that big a deal, but when you add it up, $12,000 a year, 5 years later, $60,000. 10 years down the line, $120,000. So you buy this house that's worth $600,000, in 10 years it's worth $720,000 because it appreciated $120,000. While it appreciated $120,000, you were also paying down $1,000 a month every single month for 10 years. And it's actually going to be more than that, because as I explained in my previous video, the amount that goes towards your principal goes up every single month. So this month it's $1,000, next month it's $1,010, the month after that it's $1,015, 10 years later it might be $1,700 per month. But for simplicity's sake, let's say it's $1,000 per month every month for 10 years. So the value went up $120,000 and I paid down $120,000. That's a $240,000 difference. Now I add in how much of a tax benefit I got every year by reducing my taxable income from owning this property. And that's another 120 grand that I've saved, that I've reduced my taxable income over the span of 10 years. So when you put this all into perspective, you see that keeping this one property, and this is just one property, just one example of the houses that I've bought. This one property is helping my net worth $3,000 a month. And this is where people get caught up, because they think I need to invest in something, or I need to start a business that makes me money every single month. But that's the employee mentality. Employees think about how much money am I getting every single month. The rich don't think about how much money am I getting in my bank account every month. They think about how is my net worth growing. If this month I'm worth $110,000, next month I'm worth $103,000, my net worth is going up. It's not about how much money I've got in the bank. It's not about how much money I've got in my wallet. It's not about how much money I can spend on my credit cards. It's about how much money am I worth. Because that's what's going to help you in retirement. God forbid you die early. That's what's going to be left over for your kids, your parents, grandparents. Maybe you want to start a charity organization. That's going to be your legacy when you die. You know, things that you can set up with your lawyer. So many different things that you can do with your net worth if you build it up large enough over the span of many years. So that's what I need you to think about. Don't think about how much money is this rental property making me every single month. That's just one thing. I said in my last video, that's cash flow. But there's many other ways to make money with real estate. And having a rental property is just one way. There's a lot of other things. But this one example, making me $3,000 per month without me counting cash flow at all. That house does not make me cash flow right now. And it's still making me $3,000 a month. All right, guys. Hopefully this video and the other two that were a part of this series, if you haven't seen those two videos, I encourage you to go back and watch those two. You need to watch all three to really kind of understand what it is that I was trying to get across to you, what it is that I'm trying to teach you to get you started with real estate. So if you haven't seen those two, go watch those. But hopefully you've picked up something. Hopefully it was just enough to plant that seed in your head so that you too can get started in real estate. And don't just take these 3 videos and say, I'm ready. You need to go research it, learn as much as you can. You're not gonna learn everything. There's way too much to know about real estate. Investing in real estate notes, flipping properties, there's a million different things. So you don't have to learn it all. But just pick one way to invest in real estate, learn as much as you can about it, and get started. And I'm telling you, it's gonna help you immensely in the long run. All right, guys, like I always say, if you like this content, if you like this video, hit that like button so other people know that it's a good video. Hit that subscribe button. That way you know when I upload more videos. Keep living mad, and I'll see you in the next video.